So I noticed a bunch of the options were replacing the door and the frame. What would be the advantages to replacing the frame too?
If you, the frame and the door swell and contract with the heat and the cold. There are times when you can't open that door because it's like putting new wine in old barrels. If you're going to do it, let's do it right. That's my own personal preference. The frame is in decent shape. It would work. And again, I'm not sure we need to do anything out here at the office door, but we at least have to do the back door. Now, the reason I'm bringing this to you now, and I don't, the way to pay for it is I would suggest to you we didn't budget anything for it. We didn't anticipate this, but we do have some contingency fund that we can use to do that. And since the safety committee brought it to us, if we were to get a complaint now, since it's been noticed, right, then your fines under the ADA are going to go from instead of $55,000 to $75,000. It's just better to spend $5,000 or $10,000 now to replace it.
How much do we have in contingency?
77,000.
77,000.
Yes, ma'am. So, what's your choice?
So before we act on it here, is there any public that wanted to come up and make a comment about this? Nope. Okay. If somebody wants to just have discussion, so you're looking for some potential action though too, right?
Yes, I need to know which one to do it so we can order it. It's not going to get installed before Christmas, but it's going to be in the winter.
Richard?
Well, I was just going to make a comment. If we're going to do this, we might as well do both doors. And the carpenter trying to put a foreign door into a whole foreign frame is sometimes a nightmare anyway. So a lot of times they come. That's the way they come. That's the way you want to put a new door in with a new frame anyway. I would be comfortable.
You're looking at option 2B, replace both doors with full glass.
I don't think we need the full glass.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a full glass.
Well, 1B.
I think at least half glass.
Yeah. Both doors, frames, half glass.
1B.
1D.
Yeah. I agree. That's the best thing to do. I agree with Richard that if we're going to do it, let's do it right. Do both doors. The ADA for this building has been lacking forever. And so I think if we have a chance to do this, we ought to do it right. Do both doors.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So Carl, you're in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Bruce, did you want to say anything?
Go with the consensus. We could get both doors with half, and frames with half glass. I'd be okay with that.
Okay.
Is that what you guys are both talking about, half glass then too, along with the two doors?
Yeah, that's the proposal is.
Yeah.
So do we need a motion on this?
We do.
So can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we accept option 1D, the half glass in both the southwest exterior door and the administrative office door for $8,400
Plus the electrical work.
plus the electrical work.
To be paid for out of contingency.
Yeah, the monies will come from the contingency fund.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go with option, what was that, 1D?
Yeah.
Place both doors and the electrical work, right? Along with that. Yeah.
I've got some general questions about the ADA doors. how do they work when the power goes out? Are they going to be automatically locked, or are you not going to be able to lock them?
No, they'll be locked, but you won't be able to open them. The handicap, you're gonna, it'd be manual operation.
We have a manual mode.
Yeah, and lights and like everything else. Power's out. We can't take any payments anyways.
Don't people still write checks?
They do write checks, but I can't give them a receipt, we have to stick them in an envelope, process them later.
Working a pinch. But, okay, I was just curious about that.
Yeah,
how
no,
that worked.
there's an override.
So any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
When's the work to be done?
I'm sorry.
What's the time on
I don't know. I'll have to, now that we know what we're doing.
So, interested citizens, anybody want to come up and,
I do.
okay, come on up.
I am Brenda Wood. I have 3 things that I would like to bring. First of all, I'd like to let everybody know that the City of Cascade Locks, the Port, and the Cascade Locks Business Association is putting on a business reliancy meeting tomorrow at the Pavilion from 3 to 5. And it's to explore local business interests and resiliency efforts, get to know one another, and to talk about important issues in Cascade Locks for businesses. I will also be trying to get more people to sign up to be part of the business association. Right now we have 10 members. My next thing is, it's only $25 a year to join the business association here in Cascade Locks. I would like to also, the second thing that I would like to also recognize and extend to the business association and the City of Cascade Locks and anybody else that had their hands in the Santa Social. Windermere is part of the business association, Thunder Island Brewery, Ken Roy, Gordon Zimmerman, AWI, Brigham Fish, Hood River County Library Division, Paul Coop, Locks of Dogs and Treats, and Flyward Mill. So there are 10 members, and the Santa Social cost the business association $775.19, which is way more than we ever took in dues. So there is a time to start getting our businesses more involved in our business association. But I do want to, my main reason for doing that is to recognize the businesses, because I don't think we recognize our businesses for what they are doing in our community. My third thing is, from a personal level, the food trucks. I'm going to be coming to you guys often, every city council, giving you different information about food trucks and how they impact business here in Cascade Locks. Cascade Locks is a unique situation to do business here. We have about 6 months a year where you get your revenue, and then 4 months where you just I keep my doors open because I'm here for people that live in town. Yes, the tourists and all that bring in that income that allows me to be able to hire local people and all that. But I am here for people who live in Cascade Locks and in the surrounding areas. I run 2 employees right now and have from the beginning of my business. I'll throw out some numbers to what we do for our community and for the state and the feds and everybody. I've spent $21,148 in payroll, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a little business that's just starting up, that's a lot. I pay $515 a year to Hood River County for my health inspection piece of paper that hangs on my wall. I pay workers' comp, and I pay many other things. The reason I'm just going to tell you little bits at a time, because I need to keep your guys' mind open, hopefully, to hearing me in how important it is. A good example that I could come, if we're not thinking about any of the legality issues, is if we had a fuel truck pull out in front of Chevron and Shell, and they offered fuel for $1 less a gallon, everybody would go to them fuel trucks and get their gas. And guess what would happen? We would not have any gas stations in Cascade locks. And this is exactly what's happening to the businesses. In 2 years, I have to make a decision to buy a building or move my business or just go out of business. There's 3 options. I need to know my city council and my city is standing behind me as a business owner and wanting me to hire more locals and being able to grow my business, or if you guys are just gonna let people come in and take the gravy and let me suffer for it. So I hope you're open-minded, and I'll keep getting different facts together and bringing to you guys each city council. But I plan on hitting you guys every 2 weeks with this, because you really need to hear what an impact it is. You know, there's a lot of days down there I don't even make my payroll. But in the summer when it's good, that's where you save your money so you can do these things in the winter, you know. And I would like to be able to, I've been on hiring 2 trucks unless they're connected to an event that's happening. And then they check their license and they charge permit fees. Our city doesn't even charge permit fees because they're not allowed to. So if we're going to allow them, at least make some money. You know, you guys are making money off of me. So.
I'm just wondering how, because to be honest with you, I've only seen a couple.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'm out of town from 5 in the morning till 7 at night. So.
They're getting way more common now, and that's why I'm bringing it to your guys' attention, because the cars that they had at the end of town, I can't remember their name. Anyway, they brought in their food trucks, and they had asked, I went to the action meeting, and that group had asked for the businesses to stock up and be ready, because these people weren't bringing ice chest or anything. You know, that they were going to fill up here. They're going to come with empty tanks, fill their tanks up, get groceries at the grocery store, and eat at the restaurants in town. Please stock up. None of them came to my business because they were down there.
Ours either.
Yeah. So
we were all set for it.
Yeah. So them are the things that happens, you know, that, you know, I was stuck with all the extra inventory, you know, but they are getting more noticeable and they're coming different events and all that. And I understand people want different things to eat and all that, but you got to remember your brick and mortars. If you guys don't want any restaurants here, anything in town, we already don't have a high school. We don't have a bank. We're barely getting a doctor. You know, we're growing, but I would like some options here for our local. You know, I try to bring in the kids once a year for free ice cream social. I try to really do things for the community and the kids and stuff. And I hope you guys see that, you know, and try to hire locally and do all these things and do it the right way. Pay my permit for my sign that I have outside my building. All these, there's tons of money that goes on that you guys have not even a clue.
I think some of us do have a clue.
Yeah. Well, those that don't, or even if you do, maybe refresh it, that it's expensive.
I would like to make a comment.
Mm-hmm.
I want to commend you for even trying a business here. I've lived here since 1975, and I've thought many times about putting a business in here, and I haven't for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of reasons of what you're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can continue to go down this road, I know that we have a program for people to sell vendors off their property. We need to look at that program and include food carts with that program somehow and have this debate. So figure it out.
Yeah.
The only trouble we have is enforcement.
That's very true. I mean, we're full of laws
We
that nobody enforces.
We all kinds of resolutions, but if we can't enforce the resolutions, what good is it?
I don't know that we should give up just because we can't enforce. Maybe we need to, you know, find a solution for our problems so we can have
That's
it.
why I think we should have that conversation.
Yeah.
See if we can figure out a way to help the situation.
Because there's a lot of things that are being enforced already that people have made rules, regulations down the road in the past. And there's no use in making one if it isn't going to do any good. But fix the problem before we make more resolution.
I agree.
Thank you.
And the problem is enforcement.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, reports and presentations. So, city committees,
We have none.
a presentation from Jane Palmer.
That would be me. And I want to apologize for not getting this into your packet first. If you could just take one of these little infographics, I would appreciate it. Just so you know what I'm talking about.
And this is Indoor Clean Air Act.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I really do consider it an honor and a privilege to come before you. And the previous presentation is somewhat timely in that what I want to inform you about and share with you is the fact that the 10-year-old Indoor Clean Air Act, which if I go like this, you'll know what I'm talking about. A lot of people go, what in the heck is Indoor Clean Air Act? It's this. Has been on the books in the state of Oregon for 10 years and really has been, I think, instrumental in helping keep not only the air, indoor air in Cascade Locks, but certainly around the state clean and healthy. And actually, I think has been useful in decreasing the uptake in cigarette smoking, which I'm not going to go into all of the whys of why we shouldn't be smoking, but it is the #1 preventable contributor to every single health impact that we see today. We also know that as a county, Hood River County is one of the healthiest in the state. So I think that's a really good flag to wave. We know that most adults agree that we need clean indoor air and we expect it. What I'm here to tell you about is that there have been attempts to erode and undermine the Indoor Clean Air Act. Currently, the Act has the allowance of 25% of hotel and motel rooms to be smoking rooms. Again, we're blessed in this community to have hotel motels that have self-selected to be smoke-free environments. This little opening, this little loophole in this law is something that potentially can erode what we enjoy locally here, clean air when we go to businesses, when we go into hotels, restaurants, that sort of thing. There have been attempts, and there will be attempts again, to, on probably a statewide level, probably coming from the I-5 corridor, Willamette Valley, to allow smoking in businesses. And one of the things that the state of Oregon did with their Indoor Clean Air Act is to remove the preemption law, which allows local entities to strengthen their own Clean Indoor Air Act so that they can stand and say, perhaps we don't want smoking businesses in our community. I know that the city of Cascade Locks has been on record for recognizing that your role as elected officials is to make this place a better place, not only for the kids who live here, but certainly for those who work and visit here. I think it's demonstrated by the plans that are underway for the Pacific Crest Trail site. So, I see a lot of things that you guys are doing, you folks, in trying to make this really a safe, clean, healthy place to be. So what I'm proposing to you is this information with the notion that the iron may be hot in terms of taking action locally to strengthen this Clean Indoor Air Act now. Obviously, there's a lot of things that you would have to consider and discuss as a city, what you would want that to look like. But the opportunity to be a leader certainly in this county and certainly in the state is there. I think there's only one other county in the state of Oregon that has elected to strengthen their Indoor Clean Air Act. So closing up that loophole and again, declaring what's important for you. I've had conversations with lots of folks who do actually echo the fact that they do value indoor clean air and want it to be safe for employees, for visitors, and for community members as well. So, do you have any questions or things you'd like to ask me about that?
Do you have a model?
I do have, and I didn't bring it with me because I wasn't sure if you'd want it, but I do have samples of potential resolutions or ordinances or whatever, and I wasn't certain who on the phone mentioned the whole enforcement issue and how would do that. One of the things to think about is that the Oregon Health Authority does have an avenue for enforcing the Indoor Clean Air Act. What does have to happen is someone has to notify them that there's a problem, and then there's a whole mechanism of contacting local prevention department to work with businesses and that sort of thing. I think the conversation about supporting businesses and healthy businesses is something it sounds like you guys are going to be thinking about in the future, and how the city supports existing businesses. So that might be an opportunity also to think about what kinds of wording or what kinds of supports you might. And I would be more than happy to send a sample of an example of another entity's verbiage and how you might look at that. And I realize it's not an overnight, we got 5 minutes to talk about this kind of thing. I recognize that. So what I would propose is sending that, and perhaps Mr. Zimmerman can electronically send it to you all. And then maybe late spring, come back and see, what your thoughts are, and if I can support in any way, shape, or form. And maybe keep you up to date on what I'm hearing happening at a state level that may impact us locally. Because I have to say I'm passionate about this for lots of reasons. I'm a grandma.
Well, thank you. Bruce, did you have any questions, or Carl?
Nope. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I will be getting back in touch with you, and you can look forward to getting that electronic.
If you can send me the model ordinance, I'd like to run it by your city attorney.
Absolutely. Sure.
Because what I don't understand is what it would change if our hotels are already
smoke free. And it would, you can obviously say hotels, motels, you can say businesses in general, that, you can basically say all businesses will be smoke free. To be honest with you, my fear is that at a state level, this law, is going to be eroded. And that's my fear.
I'm glad to come on back, because I'd have a lot of questions about what you're talking
about. Okay. You can take smoke and vaping in any form you want. And that's what I'm talking about, is that any smoke or any vape. And just as an FYI, the rate in Hood River County when kids are surveyed from the rate of using electronic devices, which can be flavors, they can be nicotine, they can be THC, you can get just about anything you want in these little devices. And they look, some of them, they're called Joules, and some of them look like a USB port thing that goes into your computer. The rate of use in our youth has increased over 200% in 1 year. There are things happening, I can tell you, on a national level with the FDA. And the concern obviously has to do with educating kids, but I think there's a role to be played for every aspect of community, from elected officials to school officials to prevention to parents. We all have to basically hold hands and declare what we hope to be a healthy community to look like. So, that's what I'm talking about, all sorts of various smoke and vape. And who knows what the legislature will or won't do.
Okay.
Okay, city administrator Zoom.
Well, it's going to be quick so we can get out and enjoy the holidays. We did receive word from the ODOT Regional 1 that we did, or the ODOT Small City Allotment Grant, we did get $100,000 next year for paving of Forest Lane from Wanapa to Hammond. So we'll take that. If you remember, Crestline had some repair to do on that, and we chose to have them give us money instead of making the repair. So rather than just patching the patch, that $10,000 will be a match for that $100,000. And when we get it engineered, we'll figure out how much left the city has to come up with, and we'll include it in the next budget. So next September or October, when ODOT is paving Wanapa, they can just keep going. Maybe we'll contract with ODOT to just keep going and doing Forest Lane. So it'll be a big year for about 6,000 feet of new paving on our main streets. The new water tank is online and functioning with minor glitches. You'll be interested in the glitch. The altitude was about a foot off.
It's gotta be
And so,
calibrated, yeah.
and so we're having to operate the Oxbow Reservoir, excuse me, about a foot lower than we normally have in order to fill up the booty. It's a minor thing, but it's working. We have cut the line to Dry Creek and capped it, so that's we're moving forward with that decommissioning.
Are we noticing any change in loss, or is that gonna take some time?
It'll take some time. We'll have to have a month or two before we know, how much we're producing versus how much we're selling.
Okay.
What we have found is when we made the change, we had a couple of homes, their water pressure went, and so we had to figure out, okay, which valves did we turn off and which valves didn't we turn off, and it took a little while, a little searching, but we got them all back on, and everybody is back to 40 to 50 psi at the upper elevations and 70 to 80 down the main part of town. So it's been a successful change. The engineering firm, Tennessee, is going over the final accounting of the first two phases of the project to see how much money we have left, and doing an engineering estimate on the new well development. So we may get our new well, we may not be able to get, depending upon the costs, and we don't know, the full chlorine contact chamber for what our total water right is, but we haven't used our total water right in ever. So, but again, we'll take that back to the USDA and see how much they're going to let us do at the end of that. And finally, if you're trying to catch me for the rest of the week, call me on my cell phone, and if I can text you back, I will. If I'm driving, I'll answer unless I'm in the gorge and I won't hear you. It's just everybody's trying to get their meetings done before the end of the year, and nobody wants to meet the week before Christmas or the week after Christmas. So that's what we're doing. And again, we're on channel 23 and on YouTube, and like and share us on Facebook. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas.
Okay. Mayor and City Council comments. Carl, we'll start with you.
Just goodbye. Been nice working with you folks, Low City crew, and something else. So.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh, you too.
Bruce.
Well, on that note, I'd like to say goodbye and good luck to Carl, and I would like to say how good City Hall looks and the decorations in town, and what a great job it was to get them up so fast. And I appreciate that, and just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to all the staff and everybody there. Thank you.
Bobby?
Well, 'tis the season. I hope everybody has a good holiday and has time to visit with their friends and family. Remember, the weather's coming up. It's going to get nasty. This is Cascade Locks. It's going to get nasty. So, if you're going to drive, be prepared. I mean, chances are pretty good that if you drive the freeway every day, like so many of us do, that you're going to get stuck on the freeway. So, give yourself some water, a book, some cards, throw a blanket in, something. But, and know your vehicle and know what it can and can't do. Anyway, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Good advice. Yeah.
Oh, well, start off, God, I hate saying thoughts and prayers because it sounds so disingenuous, but I just wanted to make sure that people know our camera operator, Betty Rush, is in the hospital dealing with final stages of cancer. And so I just wanted to send out some healing and strength to her family. It's a hard thing to be going through anytime, especially during the holidays. And she's, been at City Hall for so long, she was practically family for us. And of course, this is also my last city council meeting, and I just wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to serve this town. I'm definitely not through, even if I'm not in an elected position anymore. A lot has changed for the better in the last 5 years, and I'm really proud to have been a part of that. And I'm really excited to see what the new blood will bring to the table, because even though you got rid of me, there's actually 2 people with similar priorities, so my voice will be doubled. So thank you, everyone, and you haven't heard the last of me.
Thank you.
Richard?
Yes, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And so I would like to say about the food cart program that you were talking about. That's indeed the biggest problem that we have is enforcement. We don't have any way of enforcing anything at this point. That's why when I ran, I talked about the EO. And I think it's important for this community to revisit that because we've had one before, but I think it was the wrong time and the wrong fit, and it didn't work. But that doesn't mean that we can't continue to look at that possibly happening when we have the ability to fund something like that. We should seriously consider that. So, but anyway, I want to thank everybody that was elected to office, and I want to thank Deanna for everything that she brought to the table of the council. And have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I also like to thank Deanna, Carl, for serving on council. It's some people think we get paid out here. We do not get paid out here. And they all put a ton of time in. And for city council, it's just not a person; it's a number of people. And the fact is, city council works well because there are a number of people with a number of ideas and where we can head on things. A lot of good information for us. I'd also like to thank all the folks who ran for council positions. It's hard to get people to commit to the time effort it takes to be involved in your community. So we appreciate people stepping up and running. In a lot of places, people aren't doing that. So, yeah, I look for a good couple more years here, and we're still moving on a variety of projects. So I think things look positive for our community as we move ahead into a new year. And that's all I have. So, other matters? Okay. Any executive session?
No, sir.
No. I'm open to adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 So,
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.